Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LFH Chop Shop. This week I've tried to film like 3 different videos and they're all not going to plan. So I'm going to make a turbo manifold for the Camry that isn't happening anytime soon. So what I have here is a K24 flange, some steam pipe, and some bends. So these are 40mm nominal bore or whatever they're called. So they're a little bit too small, and I didn't want to use 2-inch, and they don't make steam pipe in 1.75 that I could find anyway. So I'm going to need to make that fit on there. So what I'm going to do is cut some of this straight pipe, just probably 50mm of it. I'll flatten it so it's this shape. Then I want to try and make it round again by using the press. So I don't know if it's going to work, but it's a good testing opportunity, I guess. So let's crack out the bandsaw and cut some chunks of this. So I've got 4 straight pieces. They are 40mm long because I can't commit to anything today. And then I have a small offcut here in the vise. So the plan is to take those 40mm pieces and just give it a little squash like that. I don't know if that's enough. And then hopefully that'll fit on there pretty well. So that would need just the tiniest little squash more. But that's the plan. Now with these fitting quite well to the manifold, you can see they're very oval. Now I want to open up one side to a round again so that I can weld another piece of pipe to it or a bend to it, because these are obviously round. So one side needs to stay oval, one side needs to become round. So I'm going to go to the lathe and make like a tapered bit, and then I'll move over to the press, punch it in there, and that should get me most of the way, and then I'll tidy it up on the vise and should be able to get them pretty close. So it wasn't a huge effort to make that tool, but now we have 4 mostly round sections and they all fit to the manifold nicely. So the bends will fit on there pretty well. There's a little bit of discrepancy, but they're thick enough that I can get away with it. And then I need to work out what kind of fashion these pipes are going to go in. So I'll get the TIG out and I'll tack these 4 pipes to the manifold, and then I'll start making the spaghetti. Now I have all of these tacked on, so what I'm going to do is put a piece of steam pipe straight guy on there and then a shorter one up there, and then I'll have 2 pipes going this way. Then I'll need to join them into one at the turbo flange. So to make that work, what I need to do is grind this one down, put a nice scallop in it so I can lay that pipe in and get it all TIG welded, and then same here, I need to scallop this out and make it all line up. So I'll chuck you guys on hyperlapse again, get the die grinder out and start grinding. I'd just like to interrupt this video to let you guys know the merch store is finally up and proper. We have all of the stuff. We have air fresheners with the K10 on it. We have lanyards, plenty. We have so many lanyards with the original El Jefe Chop Shop logo. We have hoodies like this one. We have a few different Corolla shirts, and we have the basic t-shirt as well, in long and short sleeve. And if you're a sticker guy, there's a bunch of different options. So head over to the merch store in the description and grab yourself something cool. Let's get back to the video. So I feel like that's a pretty good start on the manifold. So we've got runners 1 and 3 joined together and 2 and 4 joined together. I don't know if that's the correct way to do it, but that's the way I wanted to do it. So that's what you get. So now I need to go around and weld everything. I'll wait until tomorrow when I can clean all this stuff on the bench and get myself comfortable and sit down. Then the last thing I do will be to weld these guys. So I'll pull these pipes off, and then I can get in there, grind them all nice and smooth, weld everything up fully, and then I can weld them to the flange properly. So I'm pretty happy with those. They are tapering very slightly together, which is probably helpful because the plan is to run these two pipes into a T3 flange for the turbo. Whether or not I have to do a little kick in it or extend them a fair bit, I'm pretty sure. But at least if I can get this bit done, I can bolt it on the car, and then I can play with the rest of the fitment in the car. So I fully welded this last night. It took me quite a long time, to be honest. I'm reasonably happy with the results. There was a few bits fighting me and I was running out of gas, so the welder was fighting me a little bit. There's a lot of stopping and starting, and there's a few massive welds and a few tiny welds, so it's not amazing, but for my second TIG project, I think it's pretty good, really. And it will definitely do what it needs to. And it also have plenty of clearance around the bolt holes, which is what I was worried about, and that's why I used the TIG. Flipping it over to the other side, you can see how close some of the bolts were coming to the welds. So I was trying to get as much clearance as I could. Overall, I think it's pretty reasonable. So I'm not sure if I want to put a plate here to hold these two pieces together, because at the moment you've got 2 cylinders individual on this pipe and 2 cylinders individual on this pipe. So if I join those, it will stop them flexing, but if I don't join them, then they can flex and they won't crack, is kind of what I was thinking. So I'm not 100% sure about that. I might add a gusset later. So the plan from now is to put this on the car at some point and then make these two come over to where the turbo will be, and they will tape it in to the T3 flange and hold the turbo in the correct position. But that will be another episode because this has been a lot of work. But before I finish off for today, I want to unbolt this from the C channel, flip it over and see if I need to deburr anything on the insides of the runners, and just show you all around how it came out. So with the manifold unbolted from the C channel, you can kind of see now. Sorry for the LED flickering. It's reasonable with the porting. I can clean it up a bit with the die grinder, but overall, it's actually pretty good, really. So I'll fire up the die grinder again, and I'll clean that up, and then we'll call it done for today. Now with that fully welded, I need to make the T3 flange to actually bolt to the back of the turbo. So I do have one of these already on the turbo, but what I want to do is make the two pipes from the header that I just made merge into one, into the back of a flange. So the hole in the original T3 flange that I already have will be incorrect. So what I want to do is make a T3 flange with the 4 bolt holes, but no center hole until I get to that stage and know exactly how I want to tackle putting a hole in the back of the flange. So here's the T3 flange off of the drill press. So now I need to try and cut it along these edges. So I would do it with a grinder, but I'm feeling lazy, so I'm going to try and do it with a bandsaw, which might be a bit spicy because this is quite a big piece. Okay, that took quite a minute. We've got a turbo flange made up. So this is a T3 flange without any center holes. So the idea of this is it bolts to the back of the turbo and then it gets welded onto the end of your manifold. Now obviously that's not going to work, so what I'm thinking, pending where it fits in the car and how long these need to be and if I need any dog legs or whatever, but something like a couple of tight 90s welded together, and then imagine those actually fit on there, cut them down to fit on there, and then it's all welded, so it'll just be like a big loop. And then once that's all fitting correctly, cut this way and then plonk that on top and open up the hole. So depends if this needs to be on an angle or if these need to go a bit of dog legging or whatever. I don't know if they need to come up first and then have the flange up here. I have no idea. So until I get this all in the car, I'm not going to know. But that is unfortunately where I'm going to have to leave this episode. I hope you enjoyed me making this manifold and learning to TIG weld a bit more, I guess. I've still got heaps to learn, and I've only done mild steel at this point. I did a tiny little bit of aluminium and I absolutely cracked it. So there's more learning to come with aluminium. Hooray. So next week I might try and get this in the car and try and actually make it mount the turbo. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.